Facing a big budget deficit, which could mean layoffs and service cuts, Cincinnati City Council will apparently not raise property taxes to help wipe out that red ink. Local 12's Jeff Hirsch joins us now. He's at City Hall with today's vote. Jeff?
Well, good evening. Every year since 2000, City Council has debated whether to raise the city's property tax rate to the maximum allowed under the city charter. And every year since then, the answer has ultimately turned out to be no. This year is no exception.
No one is forced to live here, and the people who choose to live here, they should almost get the best treatment, not the worst treatment, which means not treating them like ATMs when, budget deficits do emerge.
Council's Budget Committee voted 5-1 against an administration proposal to raise the property tax rate. City Manager Patrick Duhaney warned Council that growth in expenditures has outpaced revenue growth, resulting in the deficit. And it's increasingly difficult to balance the budget without reducing service levels and having layoffs. If public safety is exempted from cuts, that could mean nearly 12% across-the-board reductions for all other city departments. Budget Committee Chair David Mann was the only vote for the tax rate hike, saying it's painful but necessary.
One of the problems is that some of the larger corporations that we've relied on over the years for a good part of our revenue are not experiencing as fertile times as they have in the past. So the growth in business revenues is not nearly what we expected.
The city faces a projected deficit for fiscal 2020, $16.1 million with the tax hike, $18.8 million without the additional revenue. So either way, there will be painful choices later this year. It's important to point out that despite the annual battle over this issue at City Hall, the city's general fund property tax millage makes up only a tiny fraction of what you pay in property taxes. In fact, 2/3 of your property tax is for the schools, and there's a host of other things too, like mental health services, children's services, and the city portion is relatively small. But Councilmember Amy Murray said over the past 4 years, lots of small increases here and there have added up.
Every time we have a levy that comes up, every time we look at property taxes, it's always brought up that it's only $29 a year, it's only $39 a year, it's a cup of coffee once a month. So it's really not that impactful on people. But then all of a sudden we're here at $430 that our property tax has gone up. That's a lot of coffee, that's a lot for people to be able to handle.
And if this were to go through, which apparently it's not, it would add $29 to the $100,000 homeowner in the city, but that's apparently not going to happen. One thing which was discussed as a long-term alternative, not something for right now, is increasing the earnings tax, which is paid by everybody who works in the city, and that's about 5 times the number of people who pay the property tax who live in the city. But that is a long-term option. Nothing's going to happen immediately on that, if at all. Live at City Hall, Jeff Hirsch, Local 12 News. Back to you.
Jeff, thanks very much. Full City Council still has to vote on the property tax question. That's next week. But there are enough votes coming out of today's committee to reject the increase.